This is the Engage Your Destiny podcast, where your destiny is our mission. Serving our active military, veterans, and families. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, welcome to the Engage Your Destiny podcast. I'm Ben Peterson, the CEO and founder of Engage Your Destiny, where your destiny is our mission, serving our active military, veterans, families, and first responders. Guys, we got an incredible guest today that I'm so excited to dig into. But first and foremost, I want to encourage you guys to like, to subscribe, follow this podcast. Also, we have the new Engage Your Destiny book that is out that we've been doing versions of the podcast to take you deeper into the chapters and stories to really give you the practical ways to live out your God-given purpose. So I want to encourage you to go out, get a copy of that book that directly supports the ministry that we're doing with our active military and our veterans. And guys, we're just so grateful that you're following this movement as we are telling stories of veterans and military and their faith and how their faith has impacted their service. So that gets me right into my new fast friend, Aaron Iwanciw. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Great to be on, Ben.
Yeah, man. So in typical Sean Ryan style, because there's nothing new under the sun, I'm going to give you a gift. Everyone who comes on the show is going to get a gift. So these are mission merch hats, personally designed right here in Columbia, Tennessee. And it's the Engage Your Destiny logo, two-tone.
Oh,
and,
it's beautiful.
Hope you can enjoy that. Wear it with pride.
Oh, I will,
Yeah.
for sure. Thank you.
So Aaron Iwanciw, you grew up in Michigan, go Blue,
Go Blue.
and moved to Tennessee when you were how old?
8.
You were 8.
Eight
Okay.
years old.
And you joined the Marine Corps in 2000. You served 8 years. You were in the second battle of Fallujah in OIF-2. While your time in the Marine Corps, you built a company called Armor Corps, which I love that name, which is serving companies who want to solve problems for the federal government and primarily for the DoD. And you have a team of over 70 people, which is making a national impact. This is a wildly successful organization. And you've been married for 17 years. You have 2 boys, ages 10 and 14. Nice gap there. And you're a follower of Jesus.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Man, I'm so excited to get into this interview. So tell me, man, you grew up in Michigan, and, you know, I've got to know your story a little bit, and it definitely, you know, you were not born with a silver spoon in your mouth. So, dude, take me through your childhood. What was it like?
It was challenging. It was challenging. I didn't know it at the time. In fact, I probably didn't realize how challenging it was until mid-20s, maybe midway through the Marine Corps, but grew up in public housing. Didn't know what it was until maybe teenage years. Fortunately, my father worked hard. He got out of it as we moved to Tennessee.
What did he do for work?
He worked in the automotive industry, so between Cadillac, Ford, GM. In Michigan, there's rotations of layoffs. That would have been the mid-'80s. My mother worked at a gas station and a sub shop, so nothing glamorous. But they worked hard. Yeah. They worked very hard. They taught me to work hard. What I did see of them when I was home, it was at least impactful. And looking back at those years and seeing where we came from, living in those apartments, it was straight public housing. Yeah. And I didn't know it. I thought we were the richest people in the world. Wow. No idea why.
Yeah.
I'd get gifts from aunts and uncles during the birthdays and the holiday seasons. But it never impacted me until I realized it impacted me.
Wow.
And realized you can't not work and expect things to just happen for you.
Now, when you say it impacted you later, what was the revelation of what that time in a very, you know, poverty-filled area, like, what did that reveal to you?
God is good, even when you don't realize it. Even through those times when people were stealing my scooter, my bike that I just happened to get weeks earlier, God is still good, and God gives you a path. You may not know what that path is, and I certainly did not know what that path was at 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
But he blessed my father with a degree and then an opportunity to move to Tennessee.
Wow. What was that opportunity?
To work for the Saturn plant. So the Saturn car manufacturer, I think they're no longer in business anymore, but opened here in Spring Hill, Tennessee, and had an amazing opportunity to work hard and earn a decent living, which gave us a decent living.
Yeah.
And provided opportunities to engage and be friends with people that were a positive influence, as opposed to the general. We weren't in the inner city. It was Canton, Michigan.
Yeah.
And so the opportunities presented when we moved to Tennessee to engage with people allowed us gave us the invitations to start going to church. And so as we moved to Tennessee, the opportunity to go to Southern Baptist Church was given. I didn't really know why we were going there. I didn't have a religious background. My family was never religious. But my dad and my mother took us to this Southern Baptist Church, and it was a time for me to play and have fun and run around the halls and cause trouble, because I was a little bit of a troublemaker.
Yeah.
But that exposure somehow set a long-term glide path that somehow continued to draw me toward a religious experience of some sort. And I sought that out, not purposely, it just continued to fall in my lap. Never took advantage of those opportunities, it just kind of did it, just kind of went. Never fully devoted my life or my heart or really my time, but went occasionally. And it's a path that's half in, half out. And it wasn't until I met my wife that I realized you can't be a Christian halfway in and halfway out.
Yeah. So those seeds were planted, and before going to Tennessee or coming to Tennessee, there was no church. There was no religion.
Oh, there was church.
Okay.
Somehow there was a bus that would go around and pick up these all the kids from the neighborhood, and we would go to some church somewhere.
Wow.
That was the scariest experience I have ever had. Some basement of some church. It wasn't warm. It wasn't welcoming. Maybe it's images of knuckle smacking with rulers is what I remember.
Yeah.
And that was my experience of religion. It was not a very positive experience, but it was impactful because I remembered what that was. And then when we moved to Tennessee, that experience at the church in Shelbyville, Tennessee, it was a little different.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as scary.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of fear that was still there. And so as I was young, I was exposed to a lot of fear of the Bible.
Wow.
Fear of doing wrong, fear of sinning.
So not that healthy fear, respect of God, but like a fear of, I got to do this right.
I got to do this right, and I can't. They just told me that I was not good enough. I was not doing good enough. And so there was a continuous rumbling of fear in the back of my mind that never sat well with me because it wasn't accompanied with hope. I don't know why. They probably communicated that to me, but I didn't get it. Not at that time.
Wow. So moving into your teenage years, you joined the military at 2000. And this is before 9/11. So I'm a post 9/11. I joined in 04. It was like 9/11 happened, and as soon as I turned 17, I'm going to combat, right? But you joined before. Like, what drew you towards a life of service?
Nothing spectacular.
Yeah.
It was movies.
Yeah.
My father probably didn't watch the best of movies, but I caught those as a young kid, and I had respect for people that would sacrifice themselves for other people and sometimes strangers. I've always grown up with this respect for our country. It's always been there. was never really taught to me. I don't have any great examples of people that I looked up to.
Yeah.
But somehow I knew that I really appreciated what America stands for. The fact that we are a Christian nation that is welcoming to so many people, so many different cultures, and to be able to fight for that freedom, to be able to fight for other people's opportunity, it actually, believe it or not, came from movies and watching other people do good work. And so from a young age, I always wanted to do my part, and I knew the Marine Corps was the way I could do that.
And why the Marine Corps?
They're the best.
Yeah. Army and Marine guys, it's going to get ugly today.
That's right.
Yeah, dude. But you obviously wanted a challenge. You wanted to push yourself.
I did. And the Marine Corps represented perfection to me. When you look at a Marine in their dress blues,
Yeah.
that is a guy that's got it together. And that's what I saw.
Yeah.
That's what I saw in the Marine Corps. And obviously the guy the recon guy coming out of the water with his K-bar, that was appealing.
For sure.
Iconic.
For sure.
That marketing team, my goodness.
Yeah, right.
So they did a great job.
I have to ask you, had you seen Full Metal Jacket before joining the Marine Corps?
Oh, absolutely.
And so,
absolutely.
And that charged you, like that got you excited about the opportunity.
That got me excited. Rambo, I know he's an Army guy, but Rambo got me excited because there were people out there doing that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. I was young. I was immature. I didn't have a background of family members or mentors to tell me what I could do in the armed services. So all I knew was this fictitious make-believe world. But I knew I wanted to do my part.
Wow.
And so when the recruiter called me up a couple of days before Thanksgiving, said, "Have you ever thought about joining the Marine Corps?" I said, "Actually, yes, I have, and I'm going to." He said, "Well, can you come on down to the recruiting station right now and sign the papers?" I said, "No, I can't, because I have family coming into town, but when they leave, I'll come down there." He said, "Are you sure? Can I come by tomorrow?"
Yeah, he's
I
not
said,
going to let this one loose.
He was not letting it go.
Yeah.
He called me the next day. "Hey, just checking on the family. Will you come back down? Are you free to come down today?" I said, "No, but you got my word. I'll come down there after school on Monday or Tuesday, whenever it was.
Yeah.
And I'll sign those papers, and I'll join the Marine Corps. But I want to fight. I want to be an infantryman."
Wow.
He said, "Okay, well, let's take the ASVAB first and just see."
Yeah. How'd you do on the ASVAB?
Well, I don't remember exactly how I did.
Better than
but,
probably
well,
an infantryman should be, but yeah.
Better than an infantryman. So he was trying to fill a slot. He's like, "Are you sure you don't want to be a pilot? Are you sure you don't want to do this?" I said, I want to be the guy in the ground. Then maybe I'll go and fly a jet," not knowing that's not how that works.
For sure.
You don't do that. But he put me in as an 0311 in the Marine Corps, and it was exactly what I wanted to do.
Wow.
I wanted to be that guy on the ground. One day I had aspirations to lead within the infantry, and then hopefully go on to be a pilot. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do my small slice of work for our country, because what a blessing.
Right.
What a blessing to grow up in the United States of America and to not even realize it at the time fully. Now that we have kids, we get it.
Yeah,
now that
for
we
sure.
see the future, I think we get it a little bit more. But at the time, I just wanted to do my part.
So you join basic training. Was it as intense as Full Metal Jacket?
It felt that intense to
Yeah.
me, for sure. I went in over the winter time, and I think it was one of the only times there was a state declared emergency because of the icing. So I remember the days of
Were you in Paris Island?
In Paris Island,
Yeah.
yes. So I went to Paris Island and then went into the rifleman course. I think it's a week long. It may have changed by now, but that week long of sitting on that firing line and down in those pits, it was straight freezing weather, and that was 2000, maybe 2001.
Yeah.
By the time I went, we did not have Gore-Tex. We had straight leather gloves, cotton blouse, cotton trousers, probably had jungle boots on.
Yep.
And so that's my first experience of grit.
Yeah.
Like
pushing through that.
But you got to push through this, and few people fell out. I think I got pneumonia, certainly coughing up the most colorful fluids that aren't supposed to be coughed up, but you push through because I wasn't going to quit.
Yeah.
It's not an option. You just go.
Yeah.
Just go through.
I'm going to become a Marine. Yeah, that's amazing. So you join, and then when was your first deployment?
First deployment would have been late 2003, maybe 2004.
So it's been about 3 years of service.
Yeah.
And then what before you deployed, where was your faith at? You know, being in the Marines?
It was mediocre.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It was just mediocre. It was a little bit here, a little bit there. I would go to church every now and then, but it was just mediocre. I knew that there was a God. I believed in God. I believed in being a good person. I had gone to church enough at that point where I had an understanding of the type of life we were supposed to live. And then you deploy and you see the ugliest of circumstances for so many people, whether it was ugly because of combat or just pure despair of so many people. And by the time we deployed to Iraq, there was much of a transition between the complete despair of the initial push and initial outcomes of our movement into that area and the populace getting their life settled, realizing they either like Americans or they don't.
Yeah.
And
There was a heavy mixture.
it was very much a heavy mixture, and you never really knew who was smiling at you because they knew they were going to try to kill you, or smiling at you because they really appreciated what America did for them.
Yeah.
And they had been under so many sanctions for so many decades prior to us going in there. Many of them had very little hope, and that was, I think, when I started to realize, wow, if these people just had God, if they just had God.
So you deploy to Iraq, and this is OIF2 or OIF1?
OIF2.
This is OIF2. Yeah. And first of all, where were you, and what was your mission?
We deployed, so my unit, India Company 324, based out of Nashville, Tennessee, we deployed to the Fallujah area. Sister units deployed elsewhere, but we were specifically stationed in Camp Fallujah, that was FOB St. Mir, before we took it over. So just outside of Camp Fallujah, or I'm sorry, just outside of Fallujah on Camp Fallujah.
Now, you know, the understanding of the initial push through Fallujah is that's pretty much the bloodiest battle in the history of the Iraq War. So now you're coming in just after that experience. And the city obviously has been a complete war zone. And insert Aaron and his guys.
Yeah.
What was the culture? What were the people like?
Hate. There was hate. There was a lot of hate on both sides. Either we were serving next to people that hated the culture they were now immersed into, and the populace that either hated our culture or hated us for what we've done, or loved us, which the dichotomy between the two was fascinating to me to watch and to not know. Either the Hearts and Minds campaign started when we were there, or just before we got there, yes, which made it very interesting because we wanted to engage. We wanted to get out and patrol the area. I say we as a whole.
Well, in Marines, it's not to occupy; it's to advance. That's the heart of the Marine.
That's right. And so we felt this mission as we were there, all Marines. I think it was 2nd Marine Division, and we were right in between. So I think my unit, India Company, was there with both 2nd Marine Division and 1st Marine Division, or some mix of the two. And so being there and being part of it, there were so many great human beings fighting so hard to rid the world of this hate
and evil.
Just evilness.
First time you had to react to contact, IED, shot at, there was a threat, something that took place where you felt the adrenaline. What was that first time?
The first time was out in a little area we called the Boneyard, and receiving one of our teams, maybe one of our patrols was receiving contact, so it's part of the QRF force to go out there and setting in on the berm, and they're calling in for help because they think they're receiving fire from over here, and I think this was early on as we first got there, and just to set in the gun, I was carrying a 249, and so to set it in and pop that first round off, have it jam, go to fix it, go to try to shoot it again, it jams again, and it was just this very surreal. Okay, I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There was the fear for sure. I mean, somewhere in there was fear, but for me, it was just do my job, because somebody over there might be shooting at the guys over there. Those are my guys. Let's go get some.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some.
What would a daily battle rhythm look like? Were you on convoys, patrols? So
we were securing Camp Fallujah. So for the majority of us, it was a daily grind. I remember our gunny at the time, he had us on a schedule. They seemed like 20-hour days of, okay, go stand your post, secure the area, come off, go to QRF, go on patrols, show a presence. Whatever units were in the area would ask us for assistance. But the goal was to secure through presence, make sure that we were known. So a lot of patrolling, and then we had some great guys doing some great things, engaging with the local populace. My platoon commander at the time, especially, really loved people and was doing his best to engage with that local populace to show them we're here because we care for you. We care for your country. We're not here to kill everybody. A lot of the Hearts and Minds campaign, but for him it was from his heart, and I saw that, and that was impactful to see that we can be in the middle of this war where we're supposed to be protecting all of these people on this compound. We're supposed to be protecting the populace around us and gaining the trust and killing the insurgents and getting the IED teams placing those IEDs along the roads and trying to bring them into the compound while dealing with the mortars and the rockets that would be a daily occurrence. So much so we would take bets on, it's 8:30 in the morning. Let's see if they come in today.
So we're talking daily mortar and rocket attacks at Camp Fallujah.
Daily. I don't know the exact numbers. I think somewhere as we were coming back to the States, somebody had done the math on all the incoming, because they document it. We were working with some initial systems on seeing where they were coming from so we could respond with artillery or mortar. It was upwards of 350 some odd attacks over 5-6 month period. So it was very regular. Very regular. They have the morning prayer, give them 5 minutes to set in, and then watch them come in. What we did not realize was they were using the water tower at the north side of the base as like an aiming stake. So we were wondering why they always hit up there. But that's,
was anyone ever killed by mortar or rockets?
Not in our unit. Okay. No. I think before we had gotten there, a couple of the Army guys had gotten injured, but I don't know if they were killed. And I know that within the reserve element of the Marine Corps and some of the replacements, it was shortly after we left, those rocket attacks, those mortar attacks continued, and they lost several people within their command. Because it was a direct hit to either the command area or the meeting space that they were in.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's where that's where you rely on your faith, because you can run and hide. You can dive into the ditch or onto the ground, and it began to either wear on you or build you.
Wow.
And somewhere toward the end, I vividly remember, because I think we were out there working on a corporal's course, so we're out in the field, probably working on our knowledge of some sort, and here they come. You can hear these rockets come in.
Yeah.
You can generally hear the mortars come in, and no more than just 10 feet away.
Hitting.
It's just hitting, and it's like, there it is. What are you gonna do? You go stand next to the wall, and it'll just hit the wall right next to you. Hit the wall on the other side. And I realized that you just gotta have faith. You just gotta believe. If it's your time, it's your time. That was a moment that I realized I wasn't in control.
Wow.
Not in control at all.
So that, these situations of, near death on a regular basis, it built your faith.
It built it. It never challenged it. It built it. I don't know if I realized it though. And this is a story that I think often isn't told. There's a lot of great stories about people having this sudden realization of God impacting them in their life, and it's this all of a sudden awakening force that, I've got
The moment you woke up.
The moment you woke up.
You had the salvation radical experience.
I woke up over a 20-year period, and it was slow, incremental growth that has built me to the faith that I have today. All being able to just look back and reflect. And if we don't look back and reflect, if I had not looked back and realized that my youthful upbringing, the challenges financially with my family, to the challenges with siblings, to the challenges of going into the Marine Corps, the time on the firing line with freezing fingers and pneumonia, had I not looked back and reflect, that I got past it. I'm past that. That didn't kill me. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Heard it my whole life. And you think, that's not me. That's somebody else. Other people with more amazing, glory-filled experiences of combat or business success. And there's this almost imposter syndrome of, that's not me. I'm just an average guy. Just an average guy. I just had average experiences my whole life. Why would that be so impactful? And I don't think it is at the time. It's an additive experience. That was my story, an additive experience that came together as I got married, and my wife is the one who brought me to the Lord. It was my wife, in her patience, in her kindness. Mostly her patience.
Yeah, right. What, we hear so many stories of PTSD and what guys go through, and then coming home and the struggle of the transition, and through all the wars, right? Shell shock to, the fever, and then, the PTSD being labeled from Vietnam, and then, these transitions. And I've seen so many guys that some of which it's just, this is what happened, and other guys can't get past it.
They can't.
What do you think is the differentiator?
In my experience, oftentimes, the folks that I have the wonderful opportunity to engage with and speak with, their struggle is not knowing what's past it. Heaven is. God is. He's not only what is past those challenges, Jesus is right there with you. Right there with you the whole way. And just not asking the question, not seeking it, not realizing that you have something to seek. Oftentimes, in my experience, that is what's most challenging, is just folks not knowing there is something past PTSD. There is something past TBI.
Did you have any of those struggles?
No, not compared to others.
Dreams, nightmares?
For sure. For sure.
So there were some of those moments where you're waking up in a panic attack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But why didn't that cripple you?
I didn't let it. I realized what was happening, realized that God was there, and I could move on. And I couldn't let it cripple me because I still had a duty as a Marine, as a father at the time, or at a later time.
Yeah.
But as a son, as an American, we have a duty to press on, and that's what I did. I just pressed on. I moved past it. I had those nightmares. I had some of those panic attacks for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't allowed to let it cripple me, and that motivated me. I have this love-hate relationship with failure. I love failure because it challenges me to try again. I hate failure because I just failed.
Because I just failed.
I just failed.
For sure.
And that is something that either cripples you or presses you forward, or you get stuck in this cycle. And unfortunately, if you don't realize what God has in store for you at the end of this very momentary life's journey,
Yeah. It's a part of your life.
It's just a part. It's just it's a small part. If you don't realize that, that's difficult for people to get past the challenges that they face, their own personal challenges of PTSD. I experienced it in my way. Everybody experiences it in their own individual way.
Mm-hmm.
But there are wonderful people out there. And you can pick up the Holy Bible and you can read God's Word. And you can immerse yourself into that just like you're immersing yourself into those nightmares and those challenging thoughts. And it's not easy. It won't work the first time, likely. Maybe not the second or the third. You just gotta press. You gotta press on.
What do you think, if you were to think through your tour, there's typically one or two events that cut the deepest? As I asked that question over your tour as a Marine, what experiences hit you the hardest?
Not realizing when you tell a friend, a fellow Marine, hey, see you tomorrow, it might just not ever happen. Might just not happen. And that's what I did. I'd see McCormick in passing, different shifts, different work. Hey, see you tomorrow. I didn't see him tomorrow. And we say these things. I said those things. Hey, see you tomorrow. Hey, tomorrow. Oh, catch you on the way back. When he did not come back, that impacted me.
Yeah.
And we weren't very close, but I knew him.
He's a Marine.
He's a Marine. He's a brother, and he did not come back.
Yeah.
And there were several other friends. Not 100% of them came back either.
Yeah.
That was impactful. That was the moment I realized you're not in control. And then I'll realize it again, and then I'll realize it again. And I think the sooner that we realize that God has a plan for us, when we say we're not in control, we're not in control of the plan that God has for us. We're in control of our life. We're in control of our day-to-day decisions. We're in control of what we're doing to better ourselves and others. But we're not in control of God's plan. Some people, I did not realize that I needed to have faith and believe that God's got a plan for all of us. For all of us. And I wasn't in control that day when I said, I'll see you later.
How'd he die?
He got hit by an IED.
Yeah.
So it was early on, so we weren't in a bunch of up-armored vehicles. I think at the time we put some armor on our Humvees.
So your Humvees had no armor?
Oh, no. I think we brought in our greenback Humvees with the canvas tops from Nashville, I believe. There were some really great people. In fact, I just spent a couple of days with the gentleman that was in charge of getting that armor to Iraq and OIF and Afghanistan, and we bolt that sucker on there. They had the armor blankets, and you sit on them, and I'm like, this is no blanket.
Wow.
So no, we didn't have any armor. I don't know if his had any armor on it, but either way, it was not strong enough.
Yeah.
It didn't prevent that blast from taking his life.
Man. Did you have any chaplain support? Any people there?
Oh no.
No one.
No, I mean maybe we did.
Yeah.
But not to me.
Yeah.
I did not see a chaplain. Yeah. I did not know there was a chaplain there. I'm sure there was. The armed services do the best that they can with what they've got.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that there was a chaplain there, but that wasn't meaningful to me. I didn't know him by name. I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah.
I know that there were services that were hosted on base. I know that there were prayer groups that I would go to when I could.
When they were available.
But at that particular time, the tempo was pretty high. We were a small unit trying to cover a big area,
Yeah.
and so lots of hours on duty. But no, I don't remember. I don't remember that, and unfortunately, I don't remember because it wasn't there for me, and I hope they were there for other people.
I'm fascinated by the mindset of, I'm not going to let this destroy me because I have a hope for what's next. Yeah. And is that how you would put it?
I don't even know if I would have called it hope.
Okay.
I don't even know how I would describe it, but there was something. I knew something was next. Something was next.
Because I've told so many veteran stories. I've heard so many veteran stories, and there's this inability to let go of what took place.
Yeah.
And an inability, like, this was, I've seen that little meme that's like, the reason I have depression as a veteran is I will never be this BA again, right? I'll never be this hardcore again, right? And that this was the greatest time of my life with brothers and family and, doing super cool stuff. And I'll never be able to do that again, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to that? Because you lived it.
God loves you. That's all that matters. God loves you. You serve God. And your job today, just like you had a job then, is to love and serve God. Many of the answers to questions and the details, I don't remember. Don't remember. Not because I've purposely tried to forget about it. Not because I don't appreciate it. I appreciate all of those guys. I appreciate everything that my leadership did for me. I don't remember because I'm focused on where are we going today.
Wow. Where are we going today? How are we moving closer to heaven today?
Exactly. How are we serving God? How am I serving God? Am I leading my two boys the way that I need to? No, I'm failing at that. But I try. I do my best, and that is what God asks. We will not be perfect. But I try. And I failed yesterday, and I'll fail tomorrow. I might even fail today. But that's not what defines me. God has defined who I am. All I can do is try to live up to that.
Yeah. So it's 2000, so one tour, two tours? One tour. So then you transition out of the military.
Yes.
But during that time, you'd been building Armor Corps.
I did.
And where did you get the idea for what has become now a massive company?
My platoon commander was part of the IED that unfortunately took McCormick away from this world. And he was in Walter Reed, and he called me up and he said, "Hey, I need some help. I need some help." He he asked me to help on a project that took us up to DARPA and NIST, and it was there I realized amazing organizations were trying to do great things for our warfighters, and they were struggling to connect the dots between what they could do from an engineering and a product and a service capability and the guys on the ground. They asked us to come in and help them with that understanding. And I realized we can do this for so many other organizations.
Wow.
And
Now you're a grunt. You're an infantry grunt with a great ASVAB, apparently.
I don't know if I'd say great.
well, but better than maybe for an 11 series. Why do you call you?
He was looking for somebody that was self-motivated. So as I think at the time when you come out of the infantry, you're like, I'm going to start a security business.
Right.
I'm going to start a personal protection business. Why? Because I got this experience. So I was going down that path with a great friend of mine, and he said, hey, you got that entrepreneurial spirit. You can think outside the box. Can you come and help?
Yeah.
Absolutely, brother.
Wow.
I'll come and help you.
Wow. And just that willingness.
Yeah,
To say yes. Yeah, I'll help you.
I'll help. I say yes and then figure it out.
Yeah.
Somebody smarter than me probably said that.
Yeah.
Or definitely said that. But say yes, figure it out, move on, attack the hill, attack the bunker, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We drive forward with the mission. Whatever the commander's intent is, we go and accomplish the goal. It doesn't matter what it is. We go accomplish the goal. And it was, I think, maybe that attitude. I hope it was that attitude. I don't know what exactly was going on through his mind, but it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity for me to, again, serve a gentleman that I had great respect for and just do my part. And I think oftentimes it's not luck that gets us into those situations of success. It's the willingness to see an opportunity and drive after it and not be afraid to fail. And that is almost the pinnacle of faith, is knowing that you're going to fail and not being afraid of it.
Sure. And that you could fail.
You could fail. You will fail. But you have to drive on. You will not. Humans are sinful beings. But what are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to go down this sinful path? Or are you going to make the choice? Are you going to make the choice to be happy? Are you going to make the choice to be patient? Are you going to make the choice to live all the fruits of the Spirit with everybody around you? And when you fail because you're hungry or you're tired or you're frustrated, are you going to come back and forgive? Are you going to forgive yourself?
Ask for forgiveness.
Ask for it.
Yeah. What was the first product that got into soldiers, airmen, Marines' hands that you were a part of?
It was a trans-tac translator of some sort. It was taking voice recognition and creating an ability to translate that into some form of Arabic.
Wow.
And I just played a small role. Those were the IBM and Carnegie Mellon guys doing all of that, DARPA.
Yeah.
But the small role I played was...
So there were guys on the ground with these talk boxes.
Yeah, talk boxes.
Communicating.
Big old suckers.
So not a little handheld.
Oh, no. When I say handheld, it was like two hands.
Two hands.
Two hands, yeah.
But they were able to communicate with someone in Arabic.
Yeah, not very well. I don't think they worked very well, but...
So we won't glorify it?
We won't glorify it. It
Yeah.
was, but it was cool. And it what we did in that particular instance of helping DARPA and NIST and these organizations did a little bit to help it be better. So that way we could win the hearts and minds. So that way we could continue to send guys with no language training and give them at least some ability to communicate. It's just like today we can open up the Translate app on the phone and go to any country and at least have some form of communication. That was the goal, and that drove voice to text capability over the last 2 decades. And it's cool to think back, and you can look at anybody's phone and say, oh, I played a little tiny role in that voice to text capability.
And the need for it.
The need for it.
Wow. So, Armor Corps is helping get these life-saving, life-changing, um, you know, uh, combat impacting products into the military. As you look back, over the last, 20 years, what's a product that stands out to you that's like, man, that made a difference? That's something that I hang my hat on.
Communications capabilities.
Okay.
Getting hearing protection and enhancement and the ability to communicate on the warfighters.
Yeah, for the special ops community.
It was originally, that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Oftentimes,
The headsets?
The headsets, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get the headsets and the PTTs, and
Yep.
they had been using it for quite some time, but being able to proliferate that, advance it, get that technology out there, and connecting the dots again between the warfighters and the engineers, and helping folks come together. One opportunity that was given to us was the ability to work with engineers, audiologists, scientists, and immerse them into combat scenarios. And I'll never forget those years of taking those people who cared so much that they would take time out of their day, their week, to travel away from their families and go experience it. And we would pull in MORSOC guys, we'd pull in the USASOC guys and get them out there, blow things up, shoot things, and just immerse them into the world that they had to live in, so that way they could better understand the challenges the warfighters faced. And ultimately what it led to was proliferating hearing protection and hearing enhancement to all of the Marine Corps.
Wow.
And it was...
I heard a great story about a Navy SEAL, 20-year guy, SEAL Team 6 guy, and he was talking about how nods and night vision really came to be, and how when the Navy SEALs first started with the night vision that night, it was like within the first week, a SEAL died, fell, couldn't see correctly where he was, and was killed because of the night vision. Yeah. And that they wanted, there was this big thing around scrapping it and getting rid of it, but they decided to persevere with it, and now night vision has changed warfare.
Oh, absolutely.
What have you seen on your end with that?
Many stories such as that. I think you can continue on a few years later when they started to jump night vision.
Yeah.
The Special Forces community was limited in what they could do in terms of jumping with the night vision on. Armor, trying to drive the forefront of armor. Is this too light? You can make it lighter, but you're losing the protection.
Yeah.
Is that an acceptable amount of protection loss? And to work with organizations that are trying to push the limits, you sometimes push those limits a little too far, and the military accepts that responsibility as commanders, and development teams accept the responsibility that what they do in pushing the limits of warfare and constantly staying ahead of our near peer and peer adversaries, there's a cost, and unfortunately sometimes that is human life.
Yeah.
And that is a weight that good contracting officers, I think, know
And consistently carry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I remember I was having a conversation with a guy that talked about drone technology and lasers, and how there's now drones that they're developing that can, swarm a group of people and just blow them up and things like that. I mean, where is the technology of warfare at today, Aaron? Where the average person doesn't really know how serious it's gotten and how much it's changed.
It's very serious right now because of the near peer and peer adversaries. Technology
Now,
has
what is that? Near peer, what is that?
an equal fighting force, somebody that can go toe to toe. There's a better definition than that. But the way my definition is, a peer adversary is one of similar capability that lined up toe to toe. That is an equal fighting force.
Got it.
Equal in discipline, equal in technology, equal in material, equal in movement abilities, in primarily in lethality.
Wow. And what products are coming online or have come online that the everyday person just doesn't know? Couldn't know.
Ballistic capabilities in both small arms, the the drone capabilities. I think anybody that's keeping track of the wars in Ukraine and Israel, you can see the use of drones and the massive disconnect between the person flying the drone and the impact that drone has on an enemy.
And what can these drones do?
Oh, they can do almost anything. They can fly high, they can fly low, they can fly first person, they can fly autonomously. They can drop bombs, they can jam, the electronic warfare capabilities are just astonishing. Things that I don't even know they can do. It's wild. The human imagination is the only limit to their ability.
For a flying object.
For a flying object, yeah.
Running into someone, dropping something.
Tracking
something.
We're working with a client now that can detect and track from 40 miles away, just a little tiny pixel on a screen, and it's astonishing what they can do. And it's a technology company. A wonderful human being out of Canada has moved to LA and has started a technology company that's working with some amazing individuals trying to advance our capabilities beyond what our near peer and peer adversaries have.
So, I mean, we're talking Russia, China. This is an arms race for technology. And, you know, whoever's on the top of the hill wins, right? And establishes dominance. So there's no regulation on this. There's no caps on this. It's whoever can develop it the fastest, right?
The fastest and the most cost effective. Right
Yeah.
now I believe that we're in a technological race to see how fast can we advance our capabilities at the lowest cost possible.
And who are we racing?
All of the U.S. adversaries, people that are fighting against our way of life or fighting for dominance on a global level. I hesitate to come directly out and say it's Russia, it's China. Everybody is fighting for their own way of life. And whether it's an individual state or a group of people that are fighting for their cause, as Christians, we have a responsibility to assume the best in all folks, but we are fighting people that want to fight us.
And that want to kill our way of life.
That want to kill our way of life, and we have to defend that at all costs.
Do they want to destroy the American way of life because it's a threat, because they're jealous of it? Why can't it just be left alone?
Don't think it's in human nature to leave things alone.
Yeah.
I think humans are are of a curious nature and want to be involved and get involved. And when you have an ownership of thought, it drives your actions.
Ownership of an idea of what something can become, and then if there's malicious intent behind it, it just keeps going.
It just keeps going.
So, you know, one of the criticisms of, you know, the American economy or of the American government is how much money is spent on military spending, right? And, you know, people say, well, why, you know, you spend more than any other nation. Why can't you spend less and do more other good in other areas? You know, what would you say to that in context of how we're in an arms race for technology?
It's a noble thought to try to spend less and do more. It's a responsibility of many people. We have great leaders within our government bodies that should be striving to do that. There's the fact, though, that you have to spend money to make things happen. And could we do more with less? Oh, absolutely. We are Americans. We will always do more with less. But it's all scale. And when you have potential adversaries or near peer adversaries that are spending more money, you've got to stay ahead of it.
Yeah.
It's the same as exercise or competition of any physical nature.
Yeah.
If the other guy is practicing more, if the other guy is working out more than you.
So, Aaron, you've kind of shared throughout our time together about how your wife kind of brought you back to faith. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, you know, you're building a company, you're pioneering new opportunities, you're getting out of the Marine Corps, all these kinds of things, and then you meet your wife. What's her name?
Amanda.
You meet Amanda. and she shows patience and love and fruits of the Spirit, and she begins to, how did that happen of drawing you into your faith?
By example.
Yeah.
By example. She lived it. She lived every aspect of being a Christian. She had a wonderful family that raised her very well. And I met her before I deployed, after I'd gone in the Marine Corps, but
Okay.
before I deployed. And it was through a friend, a mutual friend, but she made an impact in that small, brief conversation. Wow, what an amazingly confident, beautiful for sure.
Yeah.
And but happy individual. Nothing was gonna get her down. Life wasn't kicking her in the face, and if she did, she'd smile about it.
Yeah.
Why? Because she made the choice. But at that particular point in time, that impacted me. So I thought about her while I was deployed, and then had an opportunity to re-engage with her. She had owned a business as well, so she had the entrepreneurial spirit, which was attractive to me.
Yeah.
And very successful at the time too. And to watch her live a life that many misinterpret as carefree or go through life in a non-caring way. Oh no, she cared.
Yeah.
She just made the choice to not let it bother her.
Yeah.
She would purposely put herself in an uncomfortable situation to find joy and happiness in it, to live the life that God told her to live. And so I was going to a local community church when we started to date, and she would come and visit, and I looked over and she's got tears coming out of her eyes. I thought, wow, this is great. This is impacting her. This is amazing. Those tears were not tears of joy. They were tears of despair, because the local community church was teaching happiness, and this oh, you just got to live a happy life and come to God and be happy. And she was realizing, wow, this isn't teaching the word of the Lord.
Yeah.
This is just telling people if they're happy they'll find God, and that's not at all. You find happiness through God.
Yeah.
You don't find God by being happy. And she took me to her church, and she invites me, and I listen to this, what sounds like a history teacher. There's no band, there's no great videos of anything. We got up there and we started talking about the Bible, or he started to speak about the Bible and relate it to chapter and verse. And I realized, oh wow, we are studying and learning the words in this book, not making it feel good. And it wasn't too long before every question that I had to either her, to either Amanda or her mom Carolyn or Bill, it was, oh well, let's open up this Bible and let's see. I would ask them what their thoughts were. Yeah. They wouldn't respond with their thoughts. They were like, hey, let's go to the Word and let's see.
Wow.
Then I realized, after probably, again, my story is this continuous multi-decade long story of getting to where I am today. And it was let's open up this Word and see what God says. Where I start to realize, oh, you got to go to the Word of the Lord. He blessed us with this. He gave us an instruction book of what to do. All we had to do was open it up, look at it, read it, listen to what he has to say. And to this day, Amanda is the most patient, loving, kind individual that I have ever met. And without her, I would not be where I am today, either spiritually or as a father or a business owner or a friend. Her kindness and patience and true dedication to God was the example. And oftentimes we think that we've got to find this in ourselves, and many times I don't think that we do. In my experience, I found it through opening the book and opening my heart and mind up to what Amanda was doing as an example, and seeing it and screwing it up and failing.
Yeah.
And having her come back to me and show me my failures, and then show me the path to success in being a Christian, being a loving father.
Yeah. So looking forward, and as you're a man of vision, where you're saying, well, what's beyond, right? So what's beyond for you? What do you feel God calling you to in your destiny in this next phase of some of the most fruitful years of your life?
Using the relationships and the business and the success that we've built through opportunity that God's presented to spread the message.
Yeah.
Just spread it. Everyday life, to live it, to be an example to those, because we oftentimes, especially in business, we hire in guys that are coming out of the armed services. So they've got a real talent and a real great background for what we do in terms of connecting the dots and living in a way that is pleasing to God. Setting that example and truly embodying it. I was at a grand opening for a client's partner just the other day, and I asked this youth minister, Brady, like, Brady, what do you think it is that makes the biggest impact? And he said, oh, you got to live it for real. You can't just go tell people about it. You got to live it in your everyday life and make sure that people around you see that you're living in a way that is pleasing to God. You are following the word. And so what's the future hold for me? I don't know. It'd be cool if I did.
Yeah.
But I know that my goal is to raise 2 young gentlemen, to raise men of God.
Yeah.
That is my focus.
Come on.
And to set an example within all of my business interactions, personal or not, that I am shining God's light through everything that I do.
Come on.
And I screw it up often, but I will not stop trying.
Come on, dude. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, man. Let's close in prayer. Father, I just thank you for Aaron, my fast friend, and I thank you for our brotherhood. And God, I pray that you would just bless Armor Corps and the fantastic work that they're doing. And I pray you bless his marriage with Amanda and their 2 sons. And God, I pray for his vision and for where you're taking him in relationships, God, that he would be that shining light. And that, God, you would just use him over and over and over again for your purpose on this earth. And God, we just pray for our veterans and our military and their families, our first responders. And God, I pray that this message would touch their life and inspire them to look forward, to look to the beyond, and that there's some areas of our past that we need to just let be with God, and that he has greater things for us to move into. So, Lord, we love you, and thank you for this time in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, buddy.